Hey everybody, Dan here, and today I've got a very special set of videos for you. And as you can probably guess if you saw the stream, it's the World Championship Finals of 2012. So the Masters World Championship Finals were streamed live on GameSpot.com. Just want to thank GameSpot for the video footage. It was really good. The commentary was okay. It wasn't the best, but it was definitely a step in the right direction. And I just wanted to give my spin on the commentary because I think the games are really interesting. The last game was a really intense one, and both just really interesting games. So I hope you enjoy these games and my commentary, so I hope you enjoy. So as they're shuffling up, we've got at the top, as you can see, is Harrison Leven from the USA. Both these players went 5-2 in Swiss and managed to beat some really good players on the way up. And the person at the bottom, Igor Costa, 4-time Portuguese national champion, so we're bound to be in for a really amazing game, especially because we've got a Darkrai Mewtwo mirror match. The only difference between the lists is that Igor runs 2 Terrakions in his list, so it'll be interesting to see how that affects his consistency and how that affects the outcome of the game as well, seeing if he can use it to his full advantage. So we'll just wait for these to shuffle up and get straight into the game. So they draw their starting cards, and Igor starts with a single basic. Harrison, wait and see if he gets a basic. And it turns out he gets a mulligan. So we just see general Darkrai Mewtwo cards in their double colourless, Eviolite, random receivers, random stuff. So nothing special in his hand. I think Harrison is running a very consistent list, whereas Igor's running the more techie version of the list. So it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. So we'll wait for Harrison to shuffle up and draw his 7 again and see if he gets a basic this time. Igor just cut in the deck, and Harrison will draw a new starting 7. So as you can see, he just drew a Darkrai, so he's definitely going to have a basic. Depends if he has another one in his hand. Looks like he puts the Darkrai forward, and they both start with just a single basic, so hopefully we won't see any donks in the finals of Worlds, but it can happen, especially in a Darkrai mirror match, and we'll see who goes first. So it looks like Igor's going first because he has the coin on his side, but we'll just have to wait and see because it could just be a random coin in the game field. So they're all set up, they're ready to go, and we're about to start the World Championship 2012 Finals. And we're ready to begin. So Harrison starts with Darkrai and Igor starts with a Mewtwo. So Igor goes first. His hand is looking okay. So he starts with a Prism Energy, which is quite interesting. It'll be interesting to see whether he runs fighting as well and some way to search that fighting out, but we'll just have to wait and see. And goes for an N straight off the bat. So he won't be able to get any damage onto the field straight away unless he gets some kind of shaming combo going on. And I'm guessing he really didn't want to use that Prism Energy straight away because it's kind of his tech energy, and yeah, I guess it won't be wasting it because I know he does run Shaman, but it's not an ideal first turn attachment. So they both shuffle in and draw 6, and let's see what happens on Igor's turn. So it looks like Igor doesn't really draw that much, well, doesn't draw anything decent, and he has to pass his turn. On to Harrison's turn, and he's got an okay hand. I see energy, I see a catcher, and he's got an Ultra Ball as well, so he's going to be able to get rid of 2 cards. 2 catchers, ouch, that's going to hurt a little bit. He's not put any energy into the discard either, so I'm guessing he hasn't got access to any kind of dark patch at the moment, and I'm guessing he's going to go straight for the Smeagol. Just a way to get out of a bad hand, if that's what he's got. And then we'll see if what Igor's hand actually turned out to be like after that N. Seems as he just passed straight away. So Harrison's just going to take a look through his deck to check what's in his prizes, what he's got available for the rest of the game, and as predicted, brings out a Smeagol. So I'm guessing he didn't get rid of the Dark Energy from his hand with the Ultra Ball because he's not going to have another way to retreat Darkrai. So I'm guessing his next move is going to be attaching to Darkrai, as he does just now, retreats into Smeargle and uses Portrait. So we'll see what Igor's hand was. Two supporters, a Shaman, Dark Patch, Energy Catcher. So nothing for that turn, but a decent amount for the next turn, and Harrison gets to use the Pont for free. So Harrison hasn't used a supporter yet, so we could be seeing quite a long turn from him. Might be able to get a decent amount of pressure going on in the early game. And we'll just wait for him to shuffle up and see what he draws into. And now that he knows that Igor has that Pont, he might even be able to use two Smeargles in the same turn, two Portraits, and be able to draw even more cards on his first turn and get a severe card advantage over Igor. So Harrison draws his 6, and let's see if he gets anything worth playing, basically. He's playing some cards down. He might be looking for a Junkarm possibility or another Ultra Ball. Yeah, another Ultra Ball. Gets rid of a plus power. That's going to be interesting. That might come into play later on when he's trying to get rid of Terrakions and stuff. And he also discards a Darkrai as well, which is very interesting. I'm guessing he's going to be going for another Smeargle here, because that's the only other thing I can see him grabbing. And this move by Harrison just tells me that he's got a switch in hand to be able to use Portrait twice. So he's going to be able to use a Juniper or a Pont again. Could go for the Juniper if he's got a decent amount of energy in hand. And he benches a Mewtwo as well. So he knew he was going for the Pont straight away. Hasn't got anything in his hand he wants to discard, like energy, or he's got too many valuable resources in his hand to discard. So he just goes ahead and uses the Pont straight away. From here, I just expect him to get some more energy on the field, try and get some Dark Patches going, and just set up his board ready for next turn. Igor hasn't got much. He's seen what's in Igor's hand, so he's going to have some kind of hand refresh and an energy, but he's not going to be able to take any KOs from the hand he's got at the moment. So Harrison already looking strong, got two Portraits off, and I don't think he's used a supporter yet either, so we could see another supporter use out of Harrison yet. So I do see in his hand he's got a Dark Patch, which he might choose to use. And I'm not sure what that card is. Just wait for the camera to pan out and we'll be able to see it. Benches another Darkrai before we see what that next card is. And it was a Lost Remover. So Igor's first turn has been completely wiped out. Lost Remover is obviously going to play a big part in this because Igor, as you can see, runs Prism, and I'm assuming he runs Double Colorless as well in Darkrai Mewtwo variant. So that's going to be very, very interesting. I'm hoping that he runs some kind of Fighting Energy, just because them Lost Removers are going to play havoc on his field otherwise. So Igor's first turn really wasn't impressive at all. Harrison's first turn, incredibly impressive. This is his third Pont of the turn, thanks to Smeargles. And he's going to go ahead and draw his 6 cards to try and get some more established field presence. Not that he needs much more at the moment. So Harrison's just looking over his hand, thinking about what to do, preparing for the next turn, thinking about what Igor could do in his next turn, as he's seen his hand already. And that Lost Remover has really tipped the game the other way, because Igor's first turn was okay with that Prism Energy because he would be able to X-Ball next turn with the energy in his hand, but now it's gone. He's not going to be able to use it for the rest of the game. And he's also found out that Harrison runs Lost Remover, so it might affect his choice of energy attachments during the game. So Harrison's just passed. He's had a very strong turn, to be fair. And Igor starts, hasn't got an amazing hand, and goes for... He has to bench a Shaman just in case. I'm guessing he's going to run some kind of Super Scoop Up, Seeker or something like that. Otherwise he'd just put it in straight into his discard pile. Plays a Juniper, gets rid of some stuff and catches up the energy-less Darkrai. Just means that Harrison's energy attachment is going to be more awkward, and he can get some dark energy in the discard pile as well. So as you can see, he's got a Terrakion in his hand, a Darkrai as well, so he can start to try and get something rolling as best as possible. As I mentioned earlier, that ability to get the turn 2 Night Spear is quite high in a Darkrai deck, but when you've had your first turn energy attachment taken away, it reduces it by quite a bit. So he puts down the Terrakion with the Eviolite, and it doesn't look like he's got anything to attach, so he just passes, which is incredible. It must be so heartbreaking to see it in a Worlds final. You're just running bad. But we go to Harrison Leven's turn and see what he can pull off. Looking through his discard, he might have a Junkarm available or an Ultra Ball like we saw earlier. And it might be looking for that switch because that Darkrai is in the active position. Bit awkward at the moment, which is what Igor's plan was when he captured that up in the first place. But aside from that, Harrison's field is still looking incredibly strong. So we'll just wait for the camera to pan out to see what Harrison's doing. I think he's playing a junk arm. I'm not too sure. So it looks like he's playing a catcher from what I can gather. Okay, he's seen to have played, yeah, it looks like he's played a Dark Patch to get a energy onto his Darkrai. He managed to get the switch into his hand, so he might run quite a high number of switch, or he junk armed for it earlier while the camera was panned away from the field. And yeah, Harrison could be getting the turn 1 Night Spear, and there's the last energy. He's got the Eviolite on there as well. The Juniper for 7 just capitalizes on the ability to use that he uses the 3 supporters on his first turn, and turn 2 Night Spear has happened. And even better, the Night Spear was on a Terrakion, so Terrakion's becoming less useful for Igor. Has got the Eviolite on it, which protects it from sniping, so it might be a bit more difficult for Harrison to keep attacking that if he decides to retreat it, or Super Scoop Up. It's heads, so Harrison's turn effectively reset apart from that damage on the Mewtwo, and yeah, the game's back on a bit easier to deal with for Igor. But saying that, Igor's field is still looking terrible. He's got the energy now, but this is turn 3, that's his first energy attachment, and he still doesn't have a Darkrai on the field. The good thing about having that Dark Energy on the Terrakion is that it's threatening the Retaliate for the following turn. If Harrison decides to take that free prize off the Shaman right in front of him, which I would advise him not to do. Just thinking over his options. He might have another tough Juniper to decide to use. So we try and zoom in on the hand. Checks his discard because Harrison has burned a lot of cards already. He's used 3 catches because he got rid of 2 at the beginning, which could become his downfall, but he's only used 1 junk arm, 2 junk arms, something like that. And his options could be limited later on. And Igor's just had to pass, so this is a really, really tough game for him. Depending on how quickly Harrison starts to take prizes, I would have thought he would start to scoop. Start to think about scooping, sorry. As Harrison plays a random receiver and gets the top card off his deck, which is a Pont, I think I saw. So as I was saying, yeah, Igor's turns have just not been good at all. He's had 1 energy attachment. He hasn't suffered any prizes yet because of that key Super Scoop Up flip. And those could come into play later on, the Super Scoop Ups, because Darkrai's are only 2-shotting each other. Mewtwo's could be healed of that sniping damage and makes him a bit weaker. And yeah, it could come into play later on. But for now, Harrison's definitely in control of this game. He's got a Night Spear going on. He has a choice whether to take this free prize or not. Igor's kind of bluffing that he's got the energy by putting that energy on the Terrakion. And it'll be interesting to see what Harrison does in reply to this. Whether he takes the KO and risks the Retaliate. Because he has got that Eviolite on it, so it will be free from a KO from Retaliate, depending on what Igor's got in his hand. So that could tip it to take the free prize, go for it, and get some more damage on the bench as well. We haven't seen yet whether Igor runs plus power. I would guess he does, but you never know. You never know. So Harrison's just thinking about exactly what we talked about, and yet he's going to take the free prize as Igor brings up the Terrakion. So we'll see whether Igor does have that fighting energy available to him, or whether he runs plus power as well. It'll be really nice to see him get, for him anyway, it'll be really nice to get a plus power and a fighting energy. So he's actually got quite a bit to fish for, because I don't think there's a plus power in his discard pile. But yeah, getting a KO on that Darkrai would be crucial to him getting back into this game. If not, the Terrakion's going to carry on getting damaged. The Mewtwo's got 60 damage on it already, so it's even more prone to a cheap X-Ball KO. And things just aren't looking great for Igor. So he's mulling over his junk arm, asked to take back his junk arm, and Harrison lets him. That's really nice sportsmanship, yeah. Sportsmanship there. And he just has to pass again, so a terrible, terrible hand. There's nothing he can do. He hasn't played a random receiver to try and fish out a support from his deck. It's getting harder and harder for him to claw back into this game. And now his Terraqueon's active as well that he can't retreat because there's no Darkrai on the field. Harrison draws his card and just goes straight for the Night Spear. It's understandable. He's going to have 90 damage on the Mewtwo. It's in easy range for a KO with his own Mewtwo now. And Terraqueon's stuck in the active spot with a lot of damage on it. So Igor decides to play that Junk Arm this turn and goes for the catcher on a Mewtwo. Be interesting to see what happens here. He might have top deck a decent supporter to use. Oh, he does play Plus Power, so that's interesting. He plays a Switch, the Plus Power, and is going to be able to get an X-Ball KO on the Mewtwo. So this could be the window that Igor needs, to get back into this game. He's taken a double prize, but Darkrai is going to come up and kill that Mewtwo. However, depending on what he got from his prizes, he could be getting a Retaliate KO next turn. We do know he plays Plus Power now, so that's very likely. But with a 2-card hand, it's going to be tough for him to have the right cards in his hand at the time. So actually looking at a slight lead for Igor. He's got a 1 prize lead, but Harrison's still definitely in control. There's a lot of damage on Igor's board, and it's going to go sour very quickly. So Harrison's just thinking over his turn. It's understandable in a very high pressure game like this. He attaches a double colourless to the Darkrai, which is something you don't see often, but it's an energy attachment for the turn. And when you play Shaman, it's not going to hurt too much. So he takes that double prize. It's not worth him playing anything else because end's going to happen. And Igor scoops the game with that awful hand of 2 double colourless and a Dark Energy, because he wouldn't be able to do anything apart from attach the energy, and Harrison would just Night Spear for the game. So that's game 1. Click the annotation in the centre of the screen for game 2, and let's hope we see a more balanced game, because Igor must be feeling pretty terrible right now. He's in World Championships, and there was nothing he could do to get out of that dodgy situation. So click in the centre of the screen for game 2, and I'll see you there.